But Brandon, let's move on to our next topic, and we are talking about the Oakland Raiders and Marshawn Lynch. And this is a topic that you brought into the Onside Kick this week. You had texted me Sunday night, and you said, hey, you know what? Could we talk about the Oakland Raiders and how they're misusing Marshawn Lynch? So, Brandon, I'm going to kick it to you. You can go on your mini rant mode because I know you want to, but I'll ask you the question plain and simple like I always do. Are the Raiders misusing Marshawn Lynch?
Well, Ricky, I believe they are. And here's my reasoning behind that. So through 3 games, Marshawn Lynch has carried the ball 18 times, then 12 times, then 6 times. 18 for 76 in game 1 with 1 catch for 16 yards. 12 for 45 in a touchdown game 2, 1 catch, 4 yards. And then 6 carries for 18 yards, 1 catch, 8 yards. So Marshawn Lynch, and you know, we have to realize Marshawn Lynch is not in his prime as he was when he was a Seattle Seahawk.
Also coming off of one year off.
He is coming off of 1 year off of retirement, but everything that I have read, listened to, etc., has said that Marshawn Lynch is in some of the best shape of his career. And that's after a year off and multiple other seasons in the NFL. Marshawn Lynch didn't get the name Beast Mode for nothing. You know, he got it because that's what he is. He's a beast. Give me the rock. I want to go. I'll take the hit. I'll give a hit. I'll get 5 hits. Give me the ball. That's what I want. And right now, the Oakland Raiders, who said again that they were going to work him in a little slowly and stuff like that, well, they've certainly kept up on their side of that deal. They have certainly worked him in slowly. When I saw week 1 against Tennessee, 18 carries, 76 yards against a Tennessee pass defense that last year I think ranked number 2 in the league. Excuse me, run defense that ranked number 2 in the league, which was very good. But I thought, okay, great. You know, the next week he'll have 20 carries, such and such. So they play the Jets the next week, and they play him at home. 12 carries, 45 yards, and a touchdown. I just feel like, why are you not using the running game to then set up the pass? And in that game, Derek Carr had a great passing game. But then you get to the Washington game. The Washington game where you looked awful from the first pass of the game, which was the second play of the game. Why are you not setting up the pass with Marshawn Lynch? Why aren't you giving him and other teams a heavy dose of Marshawn Lynch, running them down in that sense, and then going through the air? Because then you're keeping them off balance. It doesn't make sense to me why you the Oakland Raiders, go out and you trade for this guy in the offseason. He comes back, he comes out of retirement, which was kind of a surprise, but kind of not. And then you trade for him to bring him onto your team where you were not happy with Latavius Murray. You have Washington, you have Richard, the quick backs, the guys who are going to most likely come in for a lot of passing downs, okay. But why are you not using beast mode then, the guy you traded for, in a way that would act as though you wanted him? Like, beast mode, I get it. You want to ease him in. Okay, we're 3 games in. If he's not consistently getting 20 carries, what the hell are you doing with him on your team? That is where my mindset is right now, as someone who looks at this and looks at the Oakland Raiders and knows that they're a very good football team, knows they have a great passing game. Why do you not want to establish a strong running game to then really open up the passing game? And they really disappointed me and failed miserably at this on Sunday night.
If you know the Oakland Raiders, this is not new to you. And the reason why I say that is just look at last year. Last year, Latavius Murray had played 14 games, had 195 carries for 788 yards, and had, 12 touchdowns. Just look at the attempts alone, the carries, 195. If we take the simple math, take that, divide by 14, that's about 13 carries per game is what it averaged out to be. However, if you look at his game by game, 14, 8, 10, 8, 18, 11, 20, 12, 19, 20, 22, 13, 15, 5. It varied, especially early in that season. So far, you look at Marshawn Lynch. If I take his 36 carries, divide by 3, I get 13. And I mean, the only thing that's questionable is the Redskin game, I feel like, is the anomaly in this, because due to what was going on, how the game started, how basically you were down, 14-0 by 3:48 in the third. You were down 7-0 so early. This team, by the time they were 21-0, Derek Carr was throwing the ball.
I understand that, but you could have avoided, I think, in a way, the 21-0 because Derek Carr's first pass of the game was intercepted.
Yeah.
I think you ran Marshawn Lynch on the first carry for 3 yards. It's second. Why not run him again? See if he can pick up another 5, make it a manageable third down.
Because
I get it. It's the Oakland Raiders, and this is what they do. But here's my whole thing.
You have a problem with them. You have a problem with how they do the offense, not necessarily Marshawn Lynch in it.
I have a problem with how they're doing the offense with Marshawn Lynch in it. I don't pick the frickin' Patriots in Madden to run Mike Gillislee all the time. I pick the Patriots to throw
he can bruise it right up the middle, man.
Shush. I pick the Patriots because I want to throw with Tom Brady and I want to go to Gronk. That's why I do that. I don't pick them to run the ball.
You mean you don't want to throw crossing routes to Danny Amendola all day? I am going to ignore that. I also don't get Marshawn Lynch to have him carry the ball a minimal amount of times during the game. It's just, why would you pick him up? Why would you even pick him up? It doesn't make sense. And then when you're at the goal line, you still throw it. I mean, it's like... Well, Marshawn's used to that.
Oh, totally he is. Especially when Derek Carr called Seattle, which is hilarious.
Did he really?
He did.
Okay.
In the Jet game. But that's just my issue here. Is that he's not Latavius Murray. He's not Washington. He's not Richard. This is a guy who has taken hits all throughout his career. This is a guy that likes it. This is a guy that wants to continue that.
Builds off of it.
He builds off that. He thrives off of the big hits. He thrives off of getting the ball. He is beast mode because of that. That's why it doesn't make much sense to me why the Oakland Raiders have, in my mind, misused him to start the season. Have they won? Are they 2-1? Yeah. Could they? I think the outcome would have been much different in the Washington game if Marshawn Lynch would have gotten the ball a little bit more or a decent amount more to start the game and really kind of go with a steady dose. I don't even think that Oakland realized how good Washington's defense was. I didn't until they played that game against them. But I think it really could have helped Derek Carr to open up that passing game a little bit more because it seemed like every single time he was trying to do anything through the air, Washington had it covered to perfection.
Well, and that's the thing. When a team can make you become one-dimensional, it takes away things like play action. It takes away things like being able to keep the run honest, where you're going to go and try to run the ball. They're not going to load the box up. Defenders are going to go right past you on play actions. And the thing I think it is, I mean, with the Raiders, it's a philosophy thing. Because, like I said, you look at Latavius Murray last year, when it comes to the number of carries, so far we're mathematically spot on to where we were with Latavius Murray last year. The only thing that I think is different so far, and I know we're only 3 games into the year, but how many games did we watch, especially the Denver game last year that was at home? Did Latavius Murray right up the middle get through a hole and boom, he's gone and he's going to the end zone? We haven't gotten that, and no one's expecting beast mode to be the speediest back out there. He's a bruiser. He's going to run into guys. He's basically going to pinball his way into the end zone. He'll hit if he hits every single defender on going to the end zone, that's a good touchdown.
Yeah.
For
and those are his
Marshawn
favorite
Lynch.
kind.
I just don't think that the Raiders are a team to say, hey, you know what? We are going to use the run and we are going to lean on the run. They are a team to where they're saying we are going to lean on Derek Carr and Cooper and Crabtree, and we will use the run when we need to. That may be good, that may be bad, it may be successful, it may be not, but that's what the Raiders are.
And I completely get that, and I knew that like going into this discussion. It's just the fact of it's Marshawn Lynch.
So you think they should change it? Change it because they have Lynch.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you were just gonna do this, you could have kept Murray. You could have just signed Murray for another couple of years, or said, okay, forget it. We'll just go with
Minnesota's not using him.
Well, no, no.
Which is hilarious. I find that hilarious because Minnesota's my team. We pay him,
but he's still getting paid big time.
We pay him, but it's like, yeah, we got Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is great. I don't want to get rid of him, but I just find it funny.
But that's the whole thing. Is that why bring in Marshawn Lynch when you could have just kept Murray for another year or another two, or just gone with Rashard and Washington and said, all right, we'll run it when we need to, and they'll do a good enough job for us, decent amount. I mean, we'll it'll be enough, and we'll just have Derek Carr, throw it most of the time. That's the thing that just I'm confounded with, is the fact that you bring in Marshawn Lynch, this guy who's had just such a phenomenal career and a great career with Seattle and was used so much in Seattle. Now you bring him over to Oakland, and it's like you're barely using him. And not that he necessarily needs to be the focal point, because we know what the Raiders want to do. They want to be able to pass the football. But what's wrong with going with more of a 60-40 split, or or I would even say sometimes a 50-50 split. I think that for the Raiders, down the road, that's going to be better. That's going to be better for them, because then you don't have games like the Washington game happen, hopefully, because you don't become one-dimensional. You can be one-dimensional against the Jets. That's fine. You're still going to win by 20. But against a team like Washington's defense, I completely thought Washington was all hype at the beginning of the season. But if they continue to play defense the way they did this past weekend against Oakland, they're going to be in a lot of games.
And the thing that I find funny is the opponent that they're going up against this next week, in week number 4, in Denver, best rushing defense in the NFL. They're only giving up 59.7 yards per game, 2.6 yards per attempt. I believe that is also number 1, just barely better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I was just looking at their schedule. They play Denver, who's number 1 against the run. Then Baltimore, they're 19, so a little bit easier. Then you get the Chargers, who right now are in the middle of that pack. The Kansas City, who is 19, right above Buffalo. And the thing about Washington, too, is what could have played into it. They are also very good against the run. Right now, they are the second best run defense. Teams are only averaging 62.3 yards per game against the Redskins, 3.2 yards per carry. They are a team that is playing well defensively against the run. So the one thing we could see is really the top 5 run defenses are Denver, Washington, Minnesota, Tampa, and Miami. Until your bye in week 10, you will play 2 more of these top 5. You will play Miami in week 9. You will play Denver in week 19. The rest of those games, Baltimore, LA Chargers, Kansas City, Buffalo. Those could be games where we could see Marshawn Lynch have better games. If I have Marshawn Lynch in fantasy this week, sit him. Sit him week 4, because he ain't going to do nothing against Denver. However, knowing Ricky Widmer, now that I said that, he's going to have a great game and have 3 touchdowns for you. So take that with a grain of salt also.
But see, I think that's also the thing, is that you can't just say, okay, Denver, they've got a great defense, and they're great against the run, number 1 against the run. All right, we're only going to run a handful of times. Take it at them. Try and wear them down if you can a little bit. I've always kind of seen it as you run to open up the pass. Not pass to open up the run.
Yeah.
That's just never how I've ever seen it.
And the thing with that Redskin game, I'll go back to it, that even adds on to it. Not only were you down 14 so early, but then you're trying, it's like, okay, we got to run the ball. but we're down, but we're running into a buzzsaw, and it kind of gets into they knew that they made their decision of, hey, you know what? We're not going to run into the buzzsaw. We're going to let Derek Carr try to win it, and it didn't work for him. You get on, you move on. You got to have a better game plan against Denver. Does that mean running the ball more with Marshawn Lynch? Does that mean running the ball consistently so that you can use play action? That's the thing that I think the run game, especially at Marshawn Lynch, because if you go to run him right up the middle, you got to be honest. Like, whenever the way it should be is whenever Derek Carr goes to hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch, the defense should think they're giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch. Because if not, Derek Carr's just going to get lit up by this Denver defense all day. Von Miller's just going to pin the ears back, come around the corner, boom, get Derek Carr all game.
No, I completely agree with you. I think that's why it's just very important to not misuse Marshawn Lynch the way that I think that Oakland has so far to start the season. And some may say, no, they're easing him in. That's just how it's happened, and stuff like that. I think it's a bit of misuse on the side of Oakland. You don't go and get what has been one of the league's best running backs to just kind of be like, you'll have a couple of carries this week, a couple of carries this week. No. I'm also not saying that you're going to give him 30 a game because that's just going to wear him down, and that leads to injury. We've seen that with a number of other backs.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? Jimmy Graham with Seattle. Theirs was different, though. They go ahead and trade for him, and then they don't fucking throw to him.
Yeah, they don't use him.
That was a great season for me, by the way, because I traded Jimmy Graham for Gronk in fantasy that year and won the whole kit and caboodle.
Very smart. Man, you're a smart guy.
Dave still hates that one because he got Jimmy Graham in that deal. He still will make the joke of, wow, I didn't know that Jimmy Graham slept with Drew Brees' wife. Because right after that, he got traded to Seattle and didn't do anything. But that's what it kind of reminds me of, is Seattle goes out and get Jimmy Graham.
Completely.
And then they don't use him like everyone's like, that's how you use Jimmy Graham. You don't use him as a blocker. You use him as a pass catcher. It says it on his Twitter bio.
Exactly.
That's what I kind of feel like shades of here with Oakland. We'll see if it works, because they did win the first two games. They did go out, beat Tennessee, the Jets they were supposed to beat, so don't get your panties in a jumble there. And then the Redskins were just a good defense. Let's see what they do, though, week 4 against, they played number 2. Now they're playing number 1 when it comes to rush defense. So let's see what they can do. I said bench Marshawn Lynch just because of the matchup. However, like I said, now that I said that, he'll have 3 touchdowns in the game, and then you'll be kicking yourself because you listened to myself. But any final thoughts before we go on and make our picks?
I'm good.
This is where you guys come in. Let us know down below. Do you guys think the Raiders are misusing Marshawn Lynch? If you were Black Jack Del Rio, how would you be using Marshawn Lynch, and how would you run this offense moving forward, especially this week going up against the Denver Broncos? Let us know down below in the comment section.